This is the KoperCrabb Podcast.
I am Cheney Crab.
I am Naveen Copperweiss.
If you would like to buy merch from our band ENTHEOS, then hit the ENTHEOS merch store at www.entheos, ENTHEOS store, STORE.com. We have a bunch of stuff that just came out of tour retirement, meaning that we took designs on tour and now they're back online. We have a new design up, so go and check it out.
We have some classics.
There's a drip tee that has finally been restocked. It's probably my favorite ENTHEOS shirt.
I'll bust that out here.
Naveen's got it. Gonna bust it out. But if you would like to buy KoperCrabb merch, you can buy that at KoperCrabb.BigCartel.com. That is the podcast that you're listening to right now. That is KoperCrabb. It's comprised of Naveen's last name and my last name.
Harrison just took off, so I'm having to show the shirt off. This is the drip shirt.
Yeah, I love that shirt.
And it's one of our top selling shirts.
So if you want to
match, and they're now restocked in the store.
They're restocked, dude. Also, let's see, what else do we have going on? If you want to come you can catch us live on Twitch every Tuesday at 7:30 Central Standard Time. Usually we're about 15 minutes late because we have technical difficulties, but if you love us enough, you'll stick around to hang out. And that's at twitch.tv/KoperCrabb.
Yeah, and over there we have a little pre-show hangout when we also have a post-show.
We do. You can get your pre and post shows.
We'll play music. Like, what are we listening to? We'll interact a little more with the
audience.
Yeah, we're more interactive. When the podcast is going on, we ignore the chat.
Well, you know what? A couple of years ago, someone asked us at a show, and this was before we did Twitch. They were like, do you ever we are learning so much about you on the podcast. Do you ever want to know more about the fans, about the people who are listening to your podcast? And I don't know that I'd ever actually thought about it before that, because I didn't think of our podcast as being like an interactive thing. Yeah. But ever since we've switched over to the Twitch format, I love doing it. I love that the podcast has become interactive and kind of like a hangout. Yeah. As much as we can do it, sometimes we just shoot it not on Twitch because it's circumstantial. We can't, and as we start doing more interviews this year, we'll not always be able to do it on Tuesday night. But I actually really love it. And when we do the podcast not live on Twitch, I miss doing it.
I agree. And the thing that I miss about it is actually hanging out with all the golden lobsters.
Yeah.
So there's been, maybe 2 points where we stopped doing the podcast for a few months.
The first time that we stopped doing the podcast, there have been a few points. The first time that we did it was maybe 7 months in, and I was certain that we would never do the podcast again.
And we honestly started doing it again because so many people were asking us to do it.
Yeah.
So I feel like, I guess sometimes we feel like we're just sitting here shooting the shit and being stupid, and it seems like there's no point. But I think every once in a while we do slip in some nuggets of wisdom, and that does help people.
We should have a humble brag button.
Yeah, humble brag. But I have an idea for an episode that we're going to do, though.
What's the idea?
It's going to be the dark side.
The dark side of metal.
The dark side of the music industry.
It's because we've been watching so many episodes of the dark side of comedy that now we're inspired.
Yeah, I'm inspired to do the dark side because I feel like Cheney and I were usually really positive, and we always try to lift people up and keep them on the right track.
Yeah.
But there's a whole other side to this.
Well, I mean, the truth is that I guess we're not doing that episode right now, but the truth is that metal or just playing music, being a musician and chasing this life in general can be really hard and really dark, and people say things to you that you don't like. There's just all kinds of crazy stuff that happens on the money side, on the working with band members side, on actually touring, because touring is a whole different monster than making music at home by yourself. There are just a lot of things, like not every single thing about working in the music industry is a net, is a positive, but I do feel like there is a net positive to working on it.
Yeah, the net positive comes into play when you get to do all the cool stuff.
Yeah.
When you're in Europe looking at a castle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is amazing. This is why I do this. But pretty much the rest of the time, it just sucks.
Or when people are talking to you about the fact that you've changed one part, something about what you did has like altered their reality. That's the cool, that really to me is the cool part, and all the people that you meet and the travel. So there are a ton of good sides. I won't say that seeing castles is the only cool part.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
of course.
Totally not true.
And when I feel like we're usually pretty positive on the podcast, because when we get on here, we're hanging out with the Golden Lobsters. This is one of the benefits.
Totally.
This is one of the coolest things that we get to do.
Well, this is like, honestly, doing this podcast and talking to people on Twitch is kind of like when you're at a show and at the merch table and talking to people about, you know, they're stoked to be at a show. So this has that same effect, but that's 6 hours of our day. And then playing a show is usually like 45 minutes of our day. And the rest of the day, we're like traveling in a van with a ton of other people. And we were just talking about this on tour. The first US tour that I, like full US pro tour that I ever did, was with Animals, doing merch with Animals as leaders. And you were on the tour as well. And in our van, because we were touring in a van, there were 9 people touring in that van. So there were some nights where Naveen and I would have to sleep like
on a bench
together, like on top of each other.
Yeah.
And in the middle of the summer. It was like a July, August tour. But that's the kind of shit that stuff. We should bleep that out. Remember when I used to talk about my grandma hearing me on the podcast?
What? We swear all the time.
I know, I'm just kidding. But that's the kind of stuff that you deal with to get the good parts of touring.
I would say that's not the part that I don't like. I'm down to slum it. I'm down to rough it. Mm-hmm. What sucks is no one else is doing that. So the venue who's getting paid, they're going to their sweet, comfy bed, you know. When the venue wants to take a big merch cut from you because you've had a great merch night, you know, they didn't do all that hard stuff. So I am down to do whatever it takes, which I have done my whole adult life.
Yeah.
But what really upsets me is just the basic injustice, one after the other, that bands have to go through. They're the last people to get paid. They're the last people to get anything, you know, any monetarily speaking, to get anything.
Yeah.
And they have to be the last ones in line.
I mean, this is a story about, I guess we're just talking about this on this episode, which is fun. But
let's just dark side it right now.
Yeah,
Fuck it, let's go.
I was just thinking what you were just talking about with promoters sleeping in a comfortable bed. I can't remember if this guy was a promoter. I think he was just a guy who worked at a venue, but he was giving us a really, really hard time about where to put our merch tables. Exactly. Because that's the kind of stuff you have to put up with.
This is the type of stuff I'm talking about.
Yeah. So he was giving us a really hard time about where to put our merch tables. And then later he realized that he recognized me from somewhere. So he was like ultra going back on it, like trying to make friends with me. And then he was he was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry that I did that. I didn't get really good sleep last night. Like, you know, it's been a rough day for me." And we were like, "Dude."
Okay, yeah. And I yelled at him.
Yes.
I was like, I lost it. I lost my cool.
Well, because I
was like, dude, you just slept in a fucking bed last night. Like, I have been living in a van for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
What, like I said, I'm fine to do that, but I think the things that are unjust, in my opinion, become so magnified because of the fact that I'm living at such a low level.
Yeah, but I think that could be taken like just with that person in particular, the way that he was acting that day. I think that you could take that into any situation, like just in treating other people. Like, you don't
100%.
know what any person is going through at all, ever. 100%. So giving them a hard time because you had a really bad day the night before, I get it. I've been there, but that doesn't make it right. Yeah. That's not a good excuse to treat people like crap when we're all just trying to do our job out here. We're all just trying to like, you know, especially on tour, because tour is such this regimented thing where, dude, it's hard. It is very hard to not get sleep. Sometimes if you're in a hotel room, you're sleeping in a bed with another person, which for you and I, that's fine. But most dudes are like, or whoever is out there touring, they're sleeping in a bed with someone they're not in a relationship with, you know, and they're like keeping their own side, and you just get crappy sleep, and there are all of these things that go along with it. So to like face something like that when you get to a venue, when you're just trying to move along with your day, it's like, it's not a fun thing to deal with.
I'd say the top things that really annoy me are the monetary injustice. And then also, once we're on tour for 5 days, everyone on the tour is in sync. We know exactly what to do. Mm-hmm. Nobody's out of line. We know exactly when to load in. We know where to put our stuff. I believe that most people on tour, they get it. They have the, just like there's a schedule. It's not even really a spoken schedule.
Yeah.
It's just, for example, if I'm the opening band, I'm going to put my drums in the worst place. It's going to go headliners on stage. Direct support gets the second best spot. Third band, they get the third best. And then me, I go over here. And I feel like everybody knows that. And then it's the same with the merch. There's sort of an unspoken thing. The headlining band goes here. The direct support band goes right next to them. Usually there's only enough room for 2 bands, and then the other bands have to find somewhere else to go. And what really annoys me is when venue people are they're getting in the way. They're getting in our way. Like, we know what to do. We know that we're not going to block the exit. We know how to make it work, right? And then this stuff really affects us in a major way. If one band has to go set up somewhere random, it's going to completely change the sales for that night.
Oh yeah.
And that changes what we make. What we make. The guarantee that we get is it just covers some of the costs. You know, we really live off the merch.
Yeah.
So when the venue steps in and they don't realize that, you know, like, oh, one of you guys can just go set up over there by, you know, on the other side of the bar. It's like, no, dude, like, we have to be together.
Well, sometimes
I get emotional about it. I shouldn't, but I just do.
Well, on top of that, it's becoming less of a thing because it's there's such an outrage about it. But there are still venues who count us in, count our merch in, count our merch out, take merch cuts from us. And when they are taking merch cuts from us, they're not taking into account how much we pay for merch.
Yeah,
so they're actually taking a percentage of what is that net? Sorry, I always get net and gross. So the total amount of money that we make, not including cost.
That would be gross.
Okay, so they only take into account
gross. Yeah.
Gross.
So they don't take into account we pay someone to sell it.
Right, we pay someone to sell it.
We pay for the merch. Mm-hmm. We pay for gas to get to every show. I mean, it's like if you sit down and crunch the numbers, you'll just not want to be in a band, and that's why nobody's in a band.
That's also that is why it, like, for so many bands, they like people in very big bands still have jobs outside of touring, because it's hard to it is really hard to have a sustainable income being in a band, in bands that do really well in merch, because like Naveen said, there are so many things that you have to pay for on the way.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
a nightly guarantee, like nightly guarantees they cover a certain amount of things, but you know, the bigger that your band gets, it just depends on your guarantee. You hire a lighting person, you hire a sound person, you hire merch, you know, so
and it's like we want to treat them well. We understand that they're not invested in the band the same way that we are.
100%.
So we're going to pay them, I mean, a lot, sometimes more than what we get paid.
Yeah. But
I'm okay with that. That doesn't really bug me. You know, what bugs me is, like I said, the venue thing.
With all of this being said about venues, though, I have seen people online saying that deters them from buying merch at a venue.
Yeah.
Don't let
Don't-
that.
yeah, that's
don't.
not-
That's
yeah.
not what we're saying. Like, we
100%
do
don't.
need to
Yeah,
sell merch every night, and no matter what, you're helping the band. If you're buying directly from us, whether it be in person or on the internet, you're benefiting a band. And so many venues have stopped taking merch cuts because, like I said,
It's becoming more rare.
last year, Live Nation had this awesome. They made the announcement that they stopped taking merch cuts. And for those of you who don't know, Live Nation is the biggest concert promoter in the United States. So
it's like House of Blues, that sort of
they
thing.
take the big, they take big shows. A lot of metal goes through those venues. Now, we played a venue in October that was a Live Nation venue. And so Live Nation stopped taking merch cuts, which they were notoriously taking. I think they took like 15 or 20% a night. So, and yes, merch cuts are that high, 15, 20%. It's on soft, or it's on soft goods.
Which
so
means
it's on like
not
shirts.
the CDs and the vinyl, which is, I mean, come on, it's a fraction.
But shirts are primarily what bands sell. So it's on soft goods. Anyway, they announced that they would stop taking merch cuts, which was great because they take big merch cuts. And they did this awesome on the road program. I think it's a Willie Nelson on the road program. And we can vouch that this actually did happen.
Yeah, this was amazing. This was like one of the coolest things that's ever happened in music.
Yeah. So they were giving every band, if you played a Live Nation venue, I think it was for the last 3 months of last year. I don't know how long it goes, but so every band got a $750 gas gift card to Shell gas stations and $700,
which we were still using on the way to the Whitechapel shows.
Or the Lorna Shore shows.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Lorna Shore shows.
The Lorna Shore Christmas shows. And they also would give you $750 in cash. So that's on top of your guarantee, on top of the merch sales. And that, to a band like ours, to any band, an extra $1,500 on top of your guarantee is insane and helps so much. So I think that was fantastic that they did that. And I think that when that happened, a lot of venues started opening their eyes like, okay, this is actually, it's probably not working out because bands are going to keep speaking out about us.
Yeah, and I think there's more, I mean, more and more people are becoming aware of this thing. And so I think it just makes the venues look greedy, which it is.
Mm-hmm.
It just is greedy. I mean, they can sell drinks. They can sell, like sometimes venues sell their own merch, right?
Yeah.
I'm not hitting them up for a percentage of their merch. I mean, yeah, sell your own merch, sell your own drinks. You sell the tickets to the show. That's the point. And I don't think it'll be a thing for that much longer.
Yeah, I don't
in
really
my
either.
opinion. And then I also want to say, like, we're of some of the bands that can actually make it work. You know, like we sell enough merch and we get enough money in a guarantee to keep on going.
Yeah.
But I just
it's very hard to get out of that, though. It's hard to become a band that does that because there are a lot of bands who, like, they're touring and their guarantee and their merch sales are not.
Yeah, I know.
You know, it's really hard to become that. And Naveen and I will like marvel all the time. We've got to be, that has to be like only 15 or 10% of bands who are out, who exist in the world have the opportunity to get to that point where the amount of money that they're making covers their expenses.
Yeah, totally. And I think about that. I think about that a lot. And I think about all the frustrating things that exist with being in a band on the business side. And it makes sense. I'm like, this is why people aren't in bands, because they can't deal with this shit.
Well, of course. That's why, I mean, over the years, as I've seen people get out of playing in a band, it's usually because they get a job at home where they make enough money to
have a comfortable life.
To have a comfortable life before the band gets to the point that it can provide the comfortable life for them. Yeah. You know, it takes a lot to get over that hump, and it is not for everyone, and it's really, really hard. And honestly, sometimes I think like we're crazy for pushing, you know, it's crazy to push through a lot of the things that you have to push through in order to become a band that does that.
Yeah, and I think for Chaney and I personally, like there's always, even when I feel down about it, You know, I'm not gonna say that I'm always embittered about being in a band. That's not how it is. However, there's two sides of the coin. You know, there's the one side, I absolutely love being in a band. I've dedicated my whole life to it. I don't have anything else going for me. I have to do it. And I love doing it. I love making music. I love playing shows. I love, my number one favorite thing is meeting all the people that I've met and interacting with people and having a community that we have. Like, we have a community that is so important to me. So those are the things that I absolutely love about it. And then it outweighs what I perceive as to be injustice. But sometimes I feel really low about it. And then, yeah, like I said, the thing that gets me through it is, well, there's enough evidence for me to keep going. You know, because it's a net positive, like what you were saying.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, it is a net positive, but it's just sometimes being in a band is swallowing your pride. That is what being in a band is.
There are a lot
you have to do that.
Being in a band, it's never going to happen that there are not hurdles that you have to jump over in order to make things work. Like at every, you know, there's always like a decision that has to be made, and you're like, is this gonna, you know, what's there? They're constant decisions. There are hard decisions that you make. Members come and go of your band. It's hard to keep a band together.
Yeah.
Aside from the monetary aspect of it.
Yeah. I mean, every aspect is hard. It's hard to keep 4 or 5 people together. Mm-hmm. It's hard to have enough money to keep going. It's hard to get anyone to notice you. Yeah. It's hard for, you know, to get the label and fans to want to listen to you.
Yeah.
To break into the scene or whatever. I mean, the whole thing is, I call it impossible.
Totally.
I call it impossible, but you know what, man? Fuck it.
It's pretty damn close to impossible, but I think that there are a lot of us who are driven by it, and it is the cool things that can happen are so absolutely sweet, and so many things that I've been lucky enough to experience are things that if I could go back in time and tell my 16-year-old self,
I wouldn't take it back for anything.
I mean, I would freak out and, you know, wouldn't take any of it back. All of my friends, anyone who's not a family member of mine, I've met through music.
100%.
Because 100%. Of music. So, and you know, I moved to California because of music, in Nashville.
Yeah.
And
we met because of music.
We met because of music. Yeah. So there's so many amazing things about it, but to paint a picture as if it's not hard, then I don't want people out there listening to think that it's all like butterflies and rainbows and give up at the immediate sight of something being hard, because we are all dealing with like the stuff that people post on Instagram. Usually people aren't talking about the hard shit. And even if they are, they're not showing every hard thing that happens. So just know that
every band, every person in the music industry there's conflicting thoughts going on.
Even if it appears,
like, should I be doing this? And I guarantee you that runs through every fucking band you can think of.
Yeah. And if anything appears to be like an overnight success, I can assure you that it was not.
It's not.
People, you get told no a million times before you get told yes. Yeah. So just know that. Just know that if you're, and this goes for anything in life, anything that you are pursuing, working on, it's going to be really hard before it gets really, really easy.
Yeah, that's what we used to say kind of when we started the band. It was like, it's impossibly hard until it's impossibly easy.
Yep.
But, I mean, I think another point worth bringing up is what isn't like that. I mean, if you're a waiter at a restaurant, you're going to have to deal with people that suck. And, you know, there's all sorts of, I mean, that the world is just like that.
Yeah.
I mean, even somebody was bringing up how I used to install custom draperies. And it's the same thing. I can't, like, just, if someone's annoying me at work installing draperies, right? I can't just, like, go off on them, let them know exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
I have to, like, you know, swallow my fucking pride, hold my tongue. So it's just kind of like, when you're in business, that's what you have to do.
I think that's just life in general.
Yeah, that's life. Like, you have to persevere, and in order to make it to where you want to go, you're just gonna have to swallow your pride sometimes, man.
Totally.
That's what's up.
That's true. And you figure out ways to make it work along the way.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. It's about being, for me personally, like having the ingenuity to how are we going to make it through this. And then another thing that I think about is if I'm feeling down, I'm feeling like I want to give up, I'm just like, you know what, dude, this is the point where it matters. It doesn't matter when you're feeling great. It's easy to do a band or anything when it's awesome, right?
Oh yeah.
That's not hard. That's completely easy. When we're all backstage having a good time, getting drunk and stuff. That's the easy part. What really matters is when you're not doing that and you're whatever broke and on a long drive and praying that your van doesn't get a flat tire because you're screwed on the way to the show. So that's when it really counts. And that's what I think of. And I think I just kind of wanted to bring all that stuff up because I don't think we talk about the negatives very often on here.
That's very true. With all that being said, though, I want to say a positive. I wouldn't. There's nothing in life that I'd rather be doing. And I'm so grateful
100%.
that I'm able to do this, that we're able to do this. And a lot of it is because of all of you out there listening.
Yeah.
Like,
100%.
there's nothing else I'd rather be doing. So thank you for helping to enable us to live out our dream, because it is like every day I think about how crazy all of these things are. Like, dude, last year we put out a record on Metal Blade. That's insane to me. When I was listening to the Black Dahlia Murder and Whitechapel and all of those bands in like the late aughts, there's no fucking way I could have ever dreamed. Like, that just seems like such a faraway dream to me. So there are so many things that I feel lucky to be doing.
Yeah,
And
or people care.
People caring
about stuff you do.
Yeah.
And that's the main part. That's amazing.
Absolutely.
Which brings us to another point. And like out here, we know a lot of people through music, all of them. And on Christmas Day, like Cheney's family and my family, they don't live in Nashville. They live far away. So we don't have family here. And Christmas Day, the night before Christmas, we just texted a bunch of people, hey, do you guys want to meet up tomorrow at a bar?
It was the night before Christmas.
And 20 people came through?
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was freaking sick. I was like, this is the cool part.
We got like some of our comedy friends. I can't remember if we said this on the podcast or not. We said it before. But we got some of our comedy in Nashville because we're starting to make comedy friends in Nashville, which is awesome. And we want to have them on the podcast because it'd be awesome. Yeah. Like, so we had some of them and a bunch of our music friends on and like, we have so many like best friends who have moved to Nashville.
Well, even the comedy people that we know, we met them at a metal show because we went to a metal show.
We went to see The Last of Lucy, who you guys should check out if you haven't. They're a California band.
At like a small dive here.
Yeah.
And it turned out that after the show, that was an early show, they were doing a comedy.
It was like an amateur comedy thing where people signed up to get on the...
Cheney is a huge comedy fan.
True.
Right? Is that how you would describe it?
I would describe myself as a huge comedy podcast fan.
You're a comedy nerd.
But here's the thing about me is that I'm kind of like an inside baseball type person. Like, I like knowing how the sausage is made more than I like the sausage, you know?
Yeah.
I like hearing about...
That's true. No, that's
true. It's true because I'm really into, business, and because it goes along with metal, the behind the scenes stuff of playing metal. Like, so
I want to know how it works.
Yeah, I want to know how stuff works. So I'm really into podcasts that are comedy based because they're hilarious and I get to find out how things work.
Yeah.
So because of that.
But you were talking to the guy and he told us he was on Kill Tony.
Our friend Thomas, yeah.
And we were like, dude, I recognized him.
Yeah.
And so
we had just watched the Kill Tony episode he was on.
Yeah, he lives here. And he actually came and hung out on Christmas night. Yeah. And we were talking to him like, hey, you should do our podcast. So
yeah.
He should do it. They should both do it, him and his friend.
Yeah, we're definitely going to do that. They also have a podcast.
Well, everyone has a podcast. So.
Yeah, everyone has a podcast. Especially comedians all have podcasts, which is really smart because how else to get comedy across? So yeah, Nashville's super rad. We love it here, and having that Christmas party was awesome.
Yeah, it was really, really fun.
We also, so that was right after.
We should do it again next year, by the way.
That was right after we got back. We did Lorna Shore's Christmas shows this year. There are 3 shows. The first one was in Worcester, which, all right, love Denver, love a lot of cities in the U.S., but we have never played a show at the Worcester Palladium that wasn't like the sickest fucking show ever of all time. It was so good. So the Lorna Shore show was there, and it was awesome.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah.
It was really, really fun.
It was really fun. We played a couple of new songs.
And so that was the, I remember saying to the band before we went on stage, I was like, all right, we get to do the cool part now.
Yeah.
This is the part that's sick.
Totally.
And yeah, all 3 of those shows were really, I mean, I don't even know if fun is how I
they were just
describe
crazy.
it. Yeah, just
they
crazy.
Were awesome.
My dad and his wife made it out to a few shows.
Yeah. I think there were all 3 sold out. Like there were, I think the smallest show was 1,800 people, which is insane.
Yeah, so it just really felt like
good for them, man. That's so awesome. I
them.
can't believe how it's so awesome. I feel like they've been able to, it's so cool to me when a metal band gets that big, but Lorna Shore doesn't have any singing in any of their songs. Like we're talking like the most crazy metal vocal, metal riff, blast beating, doubles, crazy shit that a normal person who's never heard metal before would be like, what is this?
Yeah.
So it's so insane and amazing to me that they've been able to kind of like bridge the gap between mainstream stuff and deep underground metal, and they bring out sick metal bands with them. Currents was awesome. It was great playing with Rivers of Nile. We haven't played with them since I think their headliner in 2018.
We got to tour with them again. By the way.
We have to tour with them again.
We were
awesome.
broing down, and we were like, guys, we got to fucking tour again.
Yeah.
Let's go. Come on.
And then Varials was awesome. So it was just cool to be on a tour. Like every band is like killing it. So it was so awesome to see every single band. And Lorna Shore. And there was a sick like Christmas stage set up that was awesome. And those were 3.
Everything about it was just super fun.
It was just fantastic. Great. It was a great way to end the year.
Yeah.
And then
100%. And really nice guys too, by the way. I want to mention that.
Yeah, they're awesome guys.
No rock star energy, just really cool dudes.
Sometimes you tour with people who you just never even meet them until the last day. You know, it's just
down to earth.
It's different. Nice different guys. Headliners are different. They were so fun, so awesome. So that was great. And then we came home, and the guys were here with us for an extra day in Nashville for the first time ever. So we got to take them downtown and show them Broadway. Yeah, we
went to this. What are they called when they have games here? Like an adult arcade.
Yeah, an adult arcade.
Barcade.
A barcade. There we go.
We went to a barcade. It was actually Christmas Eve, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Went to a barcade and there was like no one there. It was really fun.
Oh, dude, it was so fun. And we played Brian really excelled at that. Yeah, we played a lot of skee ball, and Brian really excelled at what's the name of that game?
It's called like cold beer. Yeah.
What a random name.
It's the best game ever made.
Yeah, it's so sick.
You know,
So at Harris and I discovered ice cold beer. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
We discovered it at the pinball place, but it was not working there.
Wait, yeah, it was working.
No, I mean when we went.
Oh, okay.
And then we went. They have it at Up Down. But yeah, it's a really hard game, and it looks like it's from like I don't know, what would you say, like
80s?
Yeah,
I would say the
70s
fucking
maybe?
30s. Yeah. I was thinking the 30s or the 20s.
It's a mechanical game, so there's like a tilting bar, and you can control either side of it, and then it drops like a pinball out, and there's a bunch of holes in a board, and you have to get it in number 1, and then after you get number 1, you have to try to get it in number 2, but you're trying to not get it in all the other holes, and it is really hard. How far did your brother get on it?
5, I think.
He got to 5?
I think Brian got to 4.
Yeah, Brian got to 4.
I prefer mechanical games. I've come to realize that about
too,
myself.
100%.
Like I like pinball and
skee
ball,
and I like the basketball.
The electronic games aren't as much my thing.
They're
It's
not as
just
fun
kind of
for me.
like, it's, I like shooting games, but duck hunt and
You know
whatever
what?
else. But
Yeah. In Santa Cruz, they had a shooting game,
Buck
but
Hunter.
it was mechanical.
Oh,
It was like-
that's fun.
You shot a thing, and it didn't actually shoot a bullet out, but it had like a what is it, like an infrared thing.
Oh yeah.
So when you shot the target, it would like fall down.
I love that. Yeah, I
like-
need
like
something
that.
to happen that's
Yeah.
like in the real world.
Tactical. Is that what it's called? Tactical feet? No, there's something. There's a word for it.
I'll be right back.
It's like
tactical
I
feedback.
shall be
is
right
it tactical feedback or is it haptic?
Haptic feedback. There you go.
Haptics.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. All right. Well, Cheney's gone. I have to hold it down in here.
You just stream her empty seat for the
Yeah, I know. It's like on Wayne's World when Wayne leaves. No, but I guess we kind of did impromptu do the dark episode a little bit.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll touch on that some more. I mean, it's a reality. You know, it's a reality. And I don't mean to make it sound like I'm complaining. It's just I just want people to know that shit's real out here, man.
Yeah, other people aren't talking about it.
Yeah, they're not. I mean, sometimes they do, but yeah, they're not for the most part. But yeah, I would say for the most part, it's fun. But yeah, there's just little things that are hard to deal with, and I'm sure everybody deals with that in their life, no matter what. If you're in a band or working any job, there's just I think that's really what I'm trying to say. When you make something into your job, I'm gonna do this professionally. It's a whole nother ballgame. You're gonna have to do it when you don't want to. You're gonna have to do a ton of crap that really sucks. And I'm not good at that. I'm not really good at doing stuff I don't want to do.
I'm the same way.
I'm like, I'm way into hobbies. So like 99% of the time, I'd rather just do a random hobby than anything I'm supposed to do. That's why I wasn't good at school.
What are you talking about?
I'm not really good at doing stuff that I don't want to do.
Well, what don't you want to do?
Just anything. Like the parts of a band that you don't want to do.
Oh yeah.
I mean, a job.
I like doing a lot of that stuff.
I mean,
I think that the only parts of it being in it, I think you just like the writing music part.
I love that part.
Yeah, that's your favorite part.
I like playing shows too.
Yeah, shows are probably my favorite part. I love writing music. It's amazing.
I would say it goes either writing music or hanging out. Those are tied.
Yeah.
And then, when I say hanging out, I mean meeting.
Hey, Mondong.
Meeting cool
We read it
people,
sometimes.
like making relationships. That and the writing of the music, those are tied. Mm-hmm. And then playing shows after that.
Yeah.
You know, I like playing shows and I like people, watching me play and stuff, but I'm not the type of person who like I thrive off of that type of stuff. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I like it. It's great. Don't get me wrong.
You
I'm not
hate
complaining.
doing the business.
The business
side of
side,
it.
I absolutely hate it.
That's
It
where we
sucks.
complement each other because I really enjoy doing a lot of the business aspects of it.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's just something, I've always been the person I was the person in my first couple bands burning every CD and writing the track listing. That's,
Well,
That's how long I've been in bands.
Successful bands need a person like you in the band.
Yeah, I guess it helps
straight
to
up.
have someone who's interested in all of that stuff. So
Gotta have it.
I think we really complement each other well on that. But I do also love doing the art part of it. That's
Of course.
That's why I do it in the first place. But luckily, a lot of my interests have been able to coalesce in a band.
Yeah, and me too. I try to adapt any sort of hobby I have into the band, into the music aspect.
Yeah, there's so many things that you can get into within being in a band, like videography, or you can kind of incorporate. If you're creative, you can figure out a way to incorporate every single thing that you enjoy doing into being in a band because it's a multifaceted art project, really.
I mean, and it's a lifestyle. So
yeah.
I think about that too. Let's say you're into tools and working on shit. Well, build the fucking van. Mm-hmm. So yeah, for me, I try to incorporate all the stuff that I'm into being in the band. It just so turns out that it's usually not the business component.
That's true.
I'm the guy out there I like turning screws. That's what I call it.
Yeah. And
like turning screws.
There are a lot of things like that I don't like doing. I'm not going to rebuild the van. I'll think about it and how cool it would be to have it happen, but I need a person to like make it fucking happen for 100%. Me. And I'm not like the tech side of music. I'm totally not interested in it whatsoever. Like I know enough to track myself in Cubase and stuff like that, but I just don't, it's not a part of what I enjoy doing, like learning to record. And I'm never going to be an engineer. It's not something I want to do. I'm never going to be the person like in any way. So
that's
we also complement each other.
You gotta go find someone who does all the shit that you don't want to do.
Exactly. That's why every video that I ever post to Instagram, you just know that Naveen is the one behind the camera making all that shit happen and mixing my vocals and doing all of that stuff, because I don't have the attention span to do it. But I love doing the thing. I'm just more of a, I don't know, analog type person. I do like editing videos. That is something I like doing, but
I love all that stuff. Stuff is my shit.
But just know there's a place for every type of creative mind in a band.
100%.
Because not everyone doesn't even have to be as involved as Naveen and I are. Some guys just write riffs. Yeah. Some guys don't. Some guys write riffs and they don't know shit about a cab or an amp. They don't know anything.
I want to be one of those guys.
Yeah. So there's room for everyone. There are varying degrees of involvement that you have to figure out being in a band.
I think that's the point of having a band.
All right, let's take some of those questions.
How long have we been yapping away here?
Ranting.
40 minutes.
Oh,
damn,
nice.
Really? Holy shit. I said before we started, I said, I want this to be a good episode. Yeah. And I feel like it is a good episode.
It is a good episode. Good job, Naveen.
Before we do that, I want to go hit the stall real quick.
Okay, go. Are there any questions that are specifically for me, Harrison? Probably not. I guess I'll go into our Twitch chat.
Oh, I got one for you.
Okay.
Righteous Earth asks, does the cow have a name?
This cow? It's a coo. It's a Heelan coo. I haven't named him. No. Does anyone want to name him? He's just my little coo. But I got him in, I said it earlier, Scotland, where apparently Highland cows are. I thought it was a yak, actually, for the first week of having it. And I was like, oh, it's my yak. And then someone was like, it's actually a Highland cow. So it's a really furry cow. You can't pull pictures of stuff up on the screen.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, pull up a picture of a Highland cow. So in Scotland, I think this is like the animal of the Scottish, and they're really famous and popular there. And I love Scotland. So I got this at the beginning of our European tour, and he slept with me in my bunk every single day.
All right, does it look
there we
good
go.
on there?
I don't see it on here.
On this screen?
It's on that screen,
okay.
Yeah. Oh, you can't pull it up in the actual... Oh, there we go.
No, I did. Yeah.
See, that's a Highland cow. Oh, look, there's mine right in the center. He's on Amazon. Yakety yak. Yakety yak. Don't call back. Or is it talk back? I don't know. All right. That's a lot about my Highland cow.
Saf the Imp asks, will the Carol of the Bells cover ever make it to Spotify? How about a whole Xmas cover EP?
There's definitely never going to be a whole Christmas cover EP. We all know that. I don't think that the Christmas cover will ever be on Spotify, to be honest with you. We talk about it every so often, but we don't really want a Carol of the Bells cover to be like at the top of our Spotify.
I know, we're worried it would have way more plays than all the rest of our songs.
We take it.
And then that would be like what the band is.
See, the thing with the Carol of the Bells cover, we did it because the podcast, speaking of comedy podcasts, Tom Segura and Christina P., they're comedians, and they have a podcast called Your Mom's House. And they asked us to make it for this live show that they do on Your Mom's House every year. Or every so often. I think they do a couple of years. Or a couple per year. So they asked us to make that. And without Christina asking me to make the video, I never, ever could have been coerced or talked into making a Carol of the Bells cover. It's just not my thing. Usually if people ask me to do covers like that, I turn them down. It's just not my thing. So we don't want, it's not, it's kind of just, it's a for fun thing. It's not like to be grouped in with the rest of our music.
Yeah, you know,
It's
it's
just
funny
not
that
our
we're
thing.
saying it's not our thing because it's like kind of our thing.
A lot of people ask us about it. We're never going
Like,
to play it live.
It turned out cool. Like I didn't know. Like Cheney said, we did it because we were asked to do it.
Yes.
But honestly, after we did it, I'm like, this is pretty sick. I don't feel compromised by putting
I don't
it out
either.
there. I
I
feel
don't
like
either.
it was fucking cool.
I don't feel compromised by it, but I don't want to stamp the ENTHEOS name on it. I don't want it to be like an
I agree.
official release of ENTHEOS. It's not
I think
not for that.
like in 5 years, do we want people to roll up to our Spotify and it's like, oh, Carol of the Bells.
Yeah,
That's
no.
that's not really what we want to be known for.
Yeah. Yeah, not our thing. So the answer is no. I'm sorry.
But we've talked about doing some other covers.
we've
But
talked
those
about
are
doing
more like just Cheney and me, and they're not really like ENTHEOS per se.
Yeah. I mean, I'm actually going to start posting some more covers to my YouTube channel probably. You know, I want to do a Marissa Nadler cover. I talk about her all the time. She's one of my favorite singers in the world. I've done a Chelsea Wolfe cover. We've done Dying Fetus together. I've done a Cannibal Corpse cover. So
I mean,
it's more stuff like
we
that.
did the Chelsea Wolfe cover too, by the way.
Oh yeah, we did the Chelsea Wolfe cover.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Why am I getting cut out of that one?
Sorry, it's because today I posted a video of just me doing it on Threads. I don't know if anyone remembers Threads, but it's still there, still kicking.
You know why I know? Because they interject it into your Instagram feed. Like every 10 posts, there'll be like a thread.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, and
they're really trying to make it happen.
Sometimes I want to click on it, but I'm like, oh, it's going to take me over to Threads. I'm not clicking on it.
Yeah, they're really trying to make it happen.
Or I'll click on it and then it'll start opening the app and then I'll just like close it real quick.
Justin McKinney asks if that KoperCrabb intro is ever going up on Spotify.
We have to put that
We
on
should do
Spotify.
that under
Yeah.
KoperCrabb. Yeah,
Yeah.
we could do that. We could do it as like a Naveen Copperweiss.
No, it should be KoperCrabb Podcast.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Just put it on there.
Sure, we should definitely do that.
I have the full version. I mean, it's just a great song.
Yeah, that's good.
That was a joke. We've told the story a million times, so I'm going to tell it again. I Am the Void, the ENTHEOS song, is one of the KoperCrabb Podcast songs.
Yeah.
And we started that. Shane and I were like, ooh, let's start like a industrial side project. And that was one of the songs.
Right. That's true.
I should find that version.
Oh yeah. All right. Any other questions?
Yeah, we got a bunch. Deathgazer asks, would you say your approach to songwriting has evolved over the years? If so, how?
Is that to both of us or?
Specifically to Naveen. But
All right,
I'm
Naveen,
opening
tell
it to either one of you.
Oh yes.
I would say it is evolving a lot.
Of course.
And I think it's evolving in a way where I want to sort of get to the point a little bit more. You know, maybe I'm sort of embracing, in my own way, the less is more concept. So, you know, I don't need to run through 10 million riffs to get my idea across. Actually, Cheney and I were just talking about this the other day. It's kind of like vocabulary. You want to say what you mean to say with the most effective words.
But you want to write it so that like people who aren't deeply in tune to vocabulary understand what you're saying.
Exactly.
So that the random person on the street, whether they're super educated or super, you know, so they can figure it out. So I think that for both of us is a goal in our songwriting, and it will become more and more evident as we release songs this year that we each want to be more concise in our songwriting. And
exactly. Well,
that's what it's like
from.
that is what we are constantly working toward. Like doing crazy, you know, we've both done the thing. We do, you know, the crazy drum, vocal, gymnastics, like all of that shit. We've done it all. I think we've been through the super technical thing, but now more than ever in our lives, we're both very concerned with songwriting, writing a good song.
And we have that technical gymnastics in our toolkit. If we want to, boom, bust it out real quick.
That's what I think is important to do as an artist. You want to learn for me personally, any vocal technique that comes along, I'm learning it all. Yeah. That doesn't mean that I'm putting it all into every single song. I don't sing in every single song. I just bust out those things. It's all a color in your paint palette. I just bust out those things when they are appropriate to do and when I feel like they fit the song well. That is what I'm most concerned in doing, is writing a good song. All the, lyrically, that's what I care about as well. I care about getting my point across in a way that people can understand, because I've done the vague thing. And the vague thing is really cool, but it's also cool to just get to the point. Say what you mean. So that has been our goal. That was our goal when we wrote our EP last year. Even, On Time Will Take Us All, we started getting into that. But I think now more than ever, that's what we care about. So you have to, like, your songwriting has to evolve. Otherwise, why? Otherwise, you've said everything you can say. Yeah. Just songwriting will evolve naturally over time. You get older, you have more life experience, you're exposed to more things, you become interested in different aspects of musicality. That's what happens naturally if you write music for long enough. If you're involved in an art for long enough, your stuff just becomes, better, more polished over time.
You take on new goals that you want to achieve, right?
Yeah.
It might not just be, when I was younger, obviously I'm just like, I'm going to make I want to out crazy everybody.
Yeah.
And it's not like I don't want to do that now. I still put stuff in there that's real crazy. But then I'm like, how can I do it in a way where it fits in?
Yeah.
To something bigger.
Yeah. The things that I care about now are like, how can we make this sound the best live? Like, what can we do live to make this better? Like, I'm trying to expand on all of those things rather than like, let's make the craziest, most, out there shit with all. I care about everything being like cool and looking good and sounding good and being understood by people.
Yeah. A wise man once told me, if you paint with too many colors, you get gray.
Damn.
You know who said that?
Evan Brewer.
Yeah.
God damn it. I knew he said that. Evan is,
wow,
I don't
guess.
know how I guessed that, but Evan, like, there are so many just things that Evan has said over the years that they'll come back to me.
A lot of musicality things in my life they come from Evan.
Dude, he's always been about the too many cooks in the kitchen thing. Like, Evan is one of the craziest, best songwriters I know, but sometimes he just like takes the back seat and lets other people write the song because he knows that, dude, sometimes there are too many cooks in the kitchen and it just makes shit hard to understand. It comes out gray.
Yeah, he's said a lot of
Evanisms.
wise music advice to me.
Yeah,
for sure.
Totally. All right, what's another one?
100%.
Willis Stone asks, what are Cheney and Naveen's New Year's resolutions?
I have a couple.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to, this is the more obvious one. I want to be more organized. So I got a jump start on that. I went through all of my shit in my studio and put it in bins and labeled the bins. And what was funny is I still couldn't find this cable. Just looking all over for it. But that's one of them. And then another one is to not be so serious.
Yeah.
I know people probably don't think of me as a serious guy, but I'm like too serious.
I didn't think you were being serious at all earlier when you were talking about all of your qualms with the music industry.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem serious.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I want to be less serious. I want to just be like, hey, whatever. Doesn't matter.
My goals are always just to be happier and healthier than the day before. Just rock harder.
There it is.
Keep it rolling. Keep it rolling. Do better. Just always trying to do better.
Actually, I started making a list of like funny things that you say like a long time ago.
Of me?
I only wrote a couple down.
Yeah.
Can I say what one of them was?
Yeah, I had no idea you were doing this.
One of them was, it was like probably between 5 and 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm just going to start writing down funny shit that Cheney says. And one of them was, my goal is to be higher and hotter every single day.
Yeah, that's totally true. That's so true. And I've been keeping it going for 5 to 10 years. So just fucking wait.
That's a Cheney right there.
10 more years. You don't even know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
All right. Any more questions, Harry?
Yeah. Cat Dog Salad asks, favorite jazz artists?
Mine is very hipster.
What is it?
I listen to them a lot. I listen to JD, Beck, and Domi all the time, constantly. I was listening to them today, taking a shower.
Yeah.
So
100%.
I like the wave of jazzy R&B, like hipster shit. So it's like verging on jazz, but not. Is it jazz?
Yeah.
We don't know.
Is it jazz?
We
It's
don't
maybe hipster coffee shop.
Yeah, it's like hipster. It's like shit you'll hear at Inglewood Lounge in Nashville.
Yeah, 100%. I'm obviously going Alan Holdsworth. Duh.
Oh, dude, the other day we pulled
my
up this
boy.
crazy Alan Holdsworth video that was 5.5 hours long.
Oh yeah.
About
I need
it's
to
a
watch
man
that.
who
Yeah.
transcribed literally every Alan Holdsworth solo ever to try and like
Yeah, Justin might actually be interested in
figure out his. Justin has probably seen it.
Yeah.
He like is formulating all of his patterns and all of the crazy.
Look, he's already like, I've seen it. Look.
Did he say that? I don't see that. I think they're talking about
Alpha Mist.
They're talking
the-
about an
Oh,
artist.
it's talking about something else. This is why I close
Boomer
the computer
energy,
usually.
Naveen.
This is why I usually close it during the podcast. But
All right, is there another question?
Yeah.
Oh, he made a book too, so he knows who it is.
I'm trying to get that book. Are you kidding me?
Sick. Can you link it? I'll never read it, but Naveen will.
All right. Jake Scrappile asks, if you had to only celebrate one holiday for the rest of your life, birthdays included, what holiday and why?
My birthday. Duh. You know why? Because on my birthday, I don't like. I'm not a celebration type person. I just get a massage, get Italian food. I like eat the bombest, most beautiful chainy things all day.
Yeah, Chen, you haven't really had like a birthday party with other people.
I don't really enjoy birthday parties that much. I just
Have we ever done that?
I just like peace and quiet.
I think for your birthday we've done like my family.
I like peace and quiet on my birthday. It's my people are just celebrating me so much that I don't. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But for real, I enjoy, we all know I'm a stoner. I like smoking a lot of weed on my birthday, getting a good meal, maybe going for a walk, seeing some nature, getting some clothes. That would be getting a cocktail.
Interesting day.
And a massage. Just anything that's like bougie, like treating myself.
Did you guys have Spare the Air Day?
I've never heard of that
Okay, it
in
might
my
be a
life.
California thing.
Sounds Californian.
Yeah. All right, never mind. I was gonna make a joke like that's my favorite day, but
Oh, what's your favorite holiday?
Earth Day.
Oh my God. My favorite holiday is any day I get to spend with the Golden Lobsters.
I don't know. I guess
Golden Lobster Day. We should make an unofficial Golden Lobster Day.
Well, you said we were having a big get together at the end.
Yeah, no,
We're gonna do it.
we're planning on
Yeah,
it.
we're gonna
We're
do it.
talking about it, but honestly, we're getting married this year, so we kind of have to plan for that first.
and every Golden Lobster is invited. Actually, by the way,
And that's actually the first Golden Lobster get together is at our wedding.
no, we want to do the Golden Lobster meetup and get a big.
I would
Airbnb.
like to do it, at the end of this year, at the beginning of next year. But first, we got to get that wedding out of the way.
Yeah, we got to knock that thing
Yeah,
out.
we
We've
gotta
been
knock
engaged
that
for
thing
5
out.
years, by the way.
A long time.
Yeah,
Probably too long, according to my mom and grandmother. So,
my grandma too.
yeah. What's the next question?
Oh, Naveen hasn't answered.
Oh God, I don't want to say my birthday, but
But obviously, Naveen loves his birthday more than I love my own.
it's just a
birthday.
great. Okay, if it wasn't my birthday, just that day of the year is a great day.
You're quite the opposite. You're quite the opposite as far as birthdays go. You love a huge celebration where everyone's like, Naveen. It's Naveen.
Okay,
Day."
I
A barbecue.
like to have a big celebration, but that's just because I like to see people happy and having fun.
Oh, yeah.
And at my birthday,
Most importantly, when you look in the mirror, you like to see that guy happy and having fun.
that's not true. At my birthday, I'm usually the one doing a lot of work. I'm like, can I get you anything you guys get? I'm like the guy manning the grill. Like I'm
That's any
serving
party we were to have, he would do that because that's called
exactly.
being controlling, Naveen. That's not called being the guy having fun.
Different ways of looking at it. Different ways of looking at it.
I love
I
you.
like
Your
being
birthday
controlling.
your
Yeah, I do
birthday
like
is
being
my
controlling.
favorite day of the year too. Don't worry.
Me and Spencer from Archspire have the same birthday,
Wow.
which actually bugged me before I knew him. Yeah, I was not down.
Whoa, birthday jealousy.
No, I'm like, you don't deserve that day. That's a great day. That's my day.
But now we know he really deserves it because
Yeah.
he's a great guy.
Yeah, I know. I actually Anyway,
I think every episode we talk about how much we miss Archspire.
we do miss them.
We're always like, oh.
We spent like so much
I was
time
looking
together.
at a few pictures of us together, like when we partied that night in Poland the other day, and I was like, oh, I miss those guys.
Oh, we got somebody in the chat from Poland, by the way.
Represent.
I wonder if they were at
the
that
party.
Or at the party.
All right, next question. I keep being like, snip, snap.
Cheney's keeping this train moving,
Let's
dude.
keep this train moving.
Next up is from Elemental Metal. At the Worcester show, you made hints of coming back this summer. Do you have any dates already scheduled?
We do have dates scheduled.
We can't announce them, but
we have dates scheduled.
Yeah, we are scheduled.
Don't tell anyone.
That's all we can say.
We've got actually we've got a couple of things coming up this year, and the most immediate one, we're going to a ton of places that we like have never been before. I believe I saw Montana on there. Like there's some crazy like stuff that we've never done before. So that'll be fun. And then over the summer, we've got something else going on. So yes, there will be a lot of news.
Things.
You guys are going to be hearing about us a lot this year.
Well, very similar question. Saf the Imp asks if Europe is on that list anywhere.
It needs to be.
It will be on it.
It needs to be.
It will be. All right. Next question.
Your accents.
It'll be. I never know where my accent's, what country I'm targeting. It's like
we don't know what's happening.
we don't know what's happening. It's just an accent.
All right. Another question from Jake Scrappile. What are your top releases of the year?
Of last year, my favorite record that came out last year is Boy Genius, the album. That's definitely what I've listened to the most. But as far as metal is concerned, the new Suffocation Rules, the new Cannibal Corpse Rules, the new Dying Fetus, those are probably my top 3.
Yeah, I'd probably throw, I would second that. Maybe the new Peeling Flesh. I think goes hard.
Yeah, that Peeling Flesh rules.
That's number one.
Also, most experimental metal
hard.
type album of the year. I really liked that Big Chocolate album. I've only heard it 2 times all the way through, but it's really goddamn good.
Yep, the new Big Chocolate is really good.
It's
Sorry, it's Disfiguring
Disfiguring the Goddess. Sorry, fuck. It's weird because it sounds kind of like a Big Chocolate record.
This question's always hard for me because I listen to a lot of new music, but I don't actually like look at when it came out. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I don't know if it was last year or the year before.
I'm always the type of person, I get into records like a year or 2 after they come out. And especially last year, because the whole middle of the year we were writing music. So while we were writing music, I wasn't listening to anything except for like when those Chelsea Wolfe songs came out, which I can't wait for that album. Those are my favorite songs that came out last year, the Chelsea Wolfe ones. And Naveen's got a record coming out in like a month, the new Job for a Cowboy.
Hell yeah.
Oh, it's mine?
Well, you're on it.
True that.
You played something on it. I can't remember what.
I'm also throwing Scrappile's new album on my list.
Yeah, dude,
I need to
Scrap
jam that at the gym.
Yeah, I jammed
Scrap
it.
Pile.
I think it's sick.
Scrap Pile rules.
All right. Next question. Mizzle Pizzle asks, what's the craziest Buzz McGrath story from your tour with On Earth?
I don't know that I have any crazy Buzz
I don't know. He wasn't
stories.
being
He wasn't being very crazy.
He's a good guy.
He's a great guy.
Yeah.
I have some pictures that Buzz like found my phone one day and took pictures of himself on it.
Oh, that's funny. Bust those out real quick.
But honestly, it was just a really fun tour. Like we talked about it a little bit, but dude, some tours are super serious and you got to be on time and it's very business. And that tour reminded me of being in high school or of being, a starting out touring person, just hanging out with my friends and doing a tour.
It was a good old school vibe. Everybody, like I was talking about earlier, everybody really knew just how to make things run smooth. And it was just...
Yeah, it was great. Nope, it wasn't an really anxiety-filled tour, and everyone was homies, which also doesn't happen on every tour. You don't always make friends with everyone you're on tour with.
It was massively homie-ified. Mm-hmm. I loved it.
Me too.
The Berries Are Fresh again asks, what is a piece of gear in your setup that you see as important to your music? And are there any pieces you're after?
That's got to be for you.
I would honestly, this is the kick pedal is like the most important thing. The kick pedal and the trigger. Because without that, it's like I can't do the songs.
How do you feel about people who say that who are still against triggers in the year 2024?
I think they're delusional.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but for most metal bands, if you aren't using a trigger, if your band is super heavy and you don't have triggers, depending on the band, don't quote me on this. Don't say, oh, she said that.
It's really rare.
It's
they don't
hard to hear your fucking kick drum.
Yeah.
It's hard to hear it. It doesn't cut through. Your band is not as heavy as it could be. We've done the acoustic kick drum thing and it sucked. It sucked. All right. Our mixes do not sound as good because we are a heavy metal band. So if you're against triggers in this day and age,
you kind of don't like metal.
And you also don't listen to that much. You're not paying attention live. And you probably don't realize that the bands that are using triggers are using them most of the time. Because so many bands use them.
On top of that, they're on the album. It's definitely, there's triggering happening. I mean, dude.
Dude.
Come on.
Dude.
So
the fuck out of here with that.
And then what was it, the second part?
I totally agree. We've got Sick Drummer in here. Is that who is posting under Sick Drummer? Is it Ian? But anyways, so that's totally true. It exposes weaknesses because triggers are very prominent in a mix. So sometimes they misfire, of course, but dude, if someone's feet sound like popcorn feet, it's going to be really fucking obvious when they're playing with triggers.
Yep.
Hey, and happy New Year.
Gear that I'm after is basically just like camping gear right now.
Yeah.
Me and Harrison are going camping though, by the way. We're going to do it's going to be harsh, dude.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm going on this camping trip. Yesterday I saw Naveen he was like watching videos of a man building a tent on a paracord in the middle of the fucking outback with bugs.
Hey, you gotta have those hobbies, man.
I will be at home in my warmth. My hobby is gonna be petting Gizmo that night.
Today would have been a good day to do it because it's like not too cold. It's cold.
Okay, Death Gazer has a good point. My problem isn't so much triggers. It's more like extreme quantization, gridding, and sample replacement drums other than the kick.
100%.
Dude, we all agree with that. The unfortunate part of this is that most metal drummers are doing that. Like, that is how most metal recordings sound. Yeah. Unfortunately, I totally agree, though. It's like the over-quantization.
Listen to the new ENTHEOS EP. Very not gridded.
Yeah.
It's got the swag.
Ain't grit. We ain't gritted.
It depends on the engineer, for sure. Like, Mark Lewis and Jason Sukoff, those guys, like, know how to keep the feel in there.
That's true.
And not just, like, mechanically go through and fucking cut everything.
I'm excited for people to hear our new... the stuff we're putting out this year, because I think that the drum mix is the best we've ever had. Like, it's crazy. So good.
Killed it.
So good.
New Suffle album, not great. I need to jam that.
The new Suffle rules. It rules. It's so good. Ricky's voice sounds amazing.
Yeah, I love the new lineup. Straight up.
Yeah.
Dude, Shani and I went and saw them in Kentucky.
We got a little buzzed.
I got way beyond buzzed.
We got a little drunk. It's hard. Yeah, we got... Also, Terrence came out to the show in New York. It was great to see him. Dude, we should get Terrence fucking Hobbs on the podcast.
Are you kidding me? We have to.
We got to get Terrence on the podcast. He's one of the nicest guys in metal, period.
I saw that he just commented. He was like, Happy New Year.
Dude, that guy rules. Yeah. That guy rules. And Suffocation, obviously one of the best fucking death metal bands of all time. And also...
I would say, as far as the old school bands go, best one.
Best one.
Like, just fucking crushing it.
Well, and Fetus.
And Fetus.
And Cannibal.
But Suffo predates all.
That's true.
They're
legit. They don't predate Cannibal?
No, Fetus.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So we partied at that Suffocation show. It was Surreption, Suffocation, and Atheist. And
I guess it's before we knew you.
I think it was like the
Contrarian.
night before, or maybe a week after I started with you guys or something.
Oh, really?
We talked about it on one of the first podcasts.
Yeah. We talked about it.
Well, I got so... I drank a good amount of alcohol that night, and I literally bought $250 worth of Suffo merch and left it all on the fucking bus. Oh my God,
dude.
It's all on their bus, and it probably...
I like that you told Terrence that at the show.
I know, and he was like, oh.
He was like, oh, what? Maybe he'll hook you up, dude, reimburse you. But, yeah, I have a bunch of videos on my phone of me in the pit.
Oh, dude, Jake, I agree. Bridget from Stabbing did... I think Ricky was sick or something, and Bridget got on stage and played with Suffo, and dude, that was fucking epic. Damn. So epic. Bridget is such a sick vocalist.
Hard.
Right. Do we have any more questions?
Yeah, last question from Pirate Sleeve. Can you explain what ENTHEOS means and why you picked it as a name for the band?
Yeah, ENTHEOS is the root word for enthusiasm. In Greek, it means the God within, full of God. We're not a Christian band. It's not about the one Christian God. I know that breaks Harrison's heart. But that's why we chose it, because Frank Costa, we were looking through books, we were like, what are we going to name this band?
When he shot it out there, it was like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it was that was it. Yeah. We wanted one word. We were like, let's try to get a one word band name. And it just, like, everything that we felt at that time was what the name stood for, that. And we are still all about that. You know, it's like a philosophical name that means basically to us that you create your own reality, and that
it fits the band really well.
It fits the band.
Do you remember what I wanted to call the band?
I think so.
Darknet.
I hate that name. Well, I hate that name for us. I think it's probably a band.
Good thing that we didn't choose Darknet.
It just doesn't fit our band.
No, it doesn't. But
ENTHEOS fits our band. It's like, you know, it makes you think.
When we were thinking of band names, though, we couldn't stop firing out just jokes. Remember that? It was just only jokes for like hours.
Only jokes. But that was what was so cool about starting our band when it was us and Frank, and we were up at Frank's apartment. Yeah, it was just really fun to like shoot the shit. It felt like we were starting a band with our buds, and not every band is like that in the internet age. You know, sometimes you just start a band with people over the internet who you don't really know, but it was just fucking awesome. It felt like being in a high school band again. Yeah. Of course, the band has changed over time, and, you know, it's become something much different now, 9 years in, than it was then, in a really good way. But we still love all of those people, and we still love every, you know, I was saying this the other day, like, what was I calling them? Like, they're parts of life you go into. They're like eras. Everyone has different eras in their life. You know, in one era you do this, and you evolve and change throughout the years, and that's how our band has been. Yeah. We have different eras of the band, and we've stayed in this, you know, we're in the Naveen and Cheney era, and we keep evolving through that. So that's 100%. What it's all about, man. It's all about the story.
I think with every great story, it must come to an end.
An end to everything, if you will.
I think we should end it there. I've had a lot of fun on this one.
Me too.
And we're going to go over to the post-show. I think we should listen to that new Suffocation.
Fuck yeah. Let's listen to that new stuff. Hey, Harrison, there were a few other questions in the chat, too. Could you go back and grab those just so we have them for next week?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and if we didn't answer your question this week, we will do it next week.
We will do it next week. As usual, great hanging out with all of you guys. Thank you so much for tuning into the podcast. Yeah.
Next week, we're going to have a guest.
We're going to have a guest next week.
We're going to bring someone else up in here.
That's right. Live. We're going to get a third party.
Yeah. All right, you guys.
Much
we will
love.
See you next week.
Have a great
More in the
week,
post show. We love you guys. Peace.
Peace out.